All right, let's talk about the controversial first-round selection from a year ago for the New England Patriots. Cole Strange, a guy who many thought would be around a third-round selection, ends up going in round one to the New England Patriots. And while a lot of people were critical of the pick, there were some people that said, hey, he's pretty good. And the reality is, I think even the people that were critical of the pick still kind of were critical, but holding their breath a little bit because, let's be honest, Belichick knows his offensive lineman tends to draft pretty well at that position. So what happened here in Cole Strange's rookie year? Well, let's start off with this play. He's the left guard, so number 69, going to be blocking a New York Jets player one-on-one. And so, right when this play begins, you see that, okay, so the Jet player is going to try to get sort of towards the inside, towards the center, and that makes some sense, right? The center is not going to be helping out Strange on this play, so you do have a window to potentially make something happen here if you want to. The issue, of course, is that there just isn't a ton of space. Kind of the difficulty of trying to pass rush from the inside in general is if you move in that direction, you just only have so much room to work with, whereas on the edge, obviously, you have just way more space, way more moves you can potentially make. But really, watch Strange kind of use his size and really be able to, or use his strength, I should say, and really be able to hold that Jets player off, and really never came close to being able to hit Mac Jones on that play. Now, someone else was able to run over and sack Mac Jones, but to me, that also goes to show that Strange did a pretty good job, right? By the time it took for a sack to happen, he made sure that he wasn't going to let something like that happen, and that was also going up against Quinnen Williams, who is a very good interior defensive lineman. So being able to hold your own against a guy like that is obviously good. Moving over here, let's go over to this play. So again, it's going to be a one-on-one block, and this is also going to be, I would say, a pretty good one by Cole Strange. So what's going to happen on this play? Again, you see the one-on-one block on the screen. And this time it's going to be more than just sort of a power move that the defensive lineman is going to use. It's going to come down to hands here. I think this is what Belichick probably really liked about Strange, is Strange's ability to use his hands. Watch how right when this play begins, you see that the defensive player who Strange is going up against kind of gets to Strange's left side of his body. That's what he's doing right here. And, one thing I would personally be worried about in this spot is if he can kind of get to either side of you. And one way to make sure it doesn't happen is to grab onto his left wrist, which is kind of exposed right here. That's what Strange is going to attempt to do, which is very difficult to pull off. However, you see Strange is able to do that, and because of it, he is able to make this block, and that was not really in any danger of pressure happening on that play. So, again, there were definitely some bright spots, I thought, in Cole Strange's game. I thought that he did some very nice things. So this is not a disaster by any means of a draft pick, I would say, but I don't think it was necessarily a great draft pick either. Again, I don't think anyone sat here and said Cole Strange can't be an effective player for the Patriots. I think the question was he the right pick to draft at the time, and could you maybe gotten him later on in the draft potentially? Of course, there were reports that came out that actually, other teams were interested in drafting him early second round if they didn't get him then. Again, reports are reports, and the reality is every single reach that's ever existed, it seems like there's reports that come out that say that actually, other teams were considering drafting that player around that time as well. How true are they? We'll never know. But I would also, go over to this play. There were some errors for Cole Strange, certainly. He was not a superstar by any means. And I mean, listen, there were definitely times when he looked like a player who should have been a third rounder out there. Like, there's no denying that when I was watching the tape. I thought that he mostly looked good. Like, if you took his top, 80 or even, top 90 snaps, you'll say, oh, he was pretty solid. But, if you like PFF grades, he was their 61st rated guard out of 77 eligible guards. And, here's an example of the negative here with Strange. Watch how on this play, he just never gets the hand placement at all and basically barely even touched the defensive lineman he was going up against. Now, again, elite scrambler Mac Jones was able to get outside the pocket and then took a massive hit. McCorkle got to run out of bounds there. So a lot happened after that play. But, that's just a kind of a good example, I think, of maybe some areas that he needs to improve upon, needs to be a bit more aggressive in getting the hand placement that he wants, was not able to do so on that play. And again, luckily, when you have an elite running quarterback like Mac Jones, you're all right. Heading over to his run blocking for a second, I didn't talk too much about his run blocking, but, it's important being able to run block effectively, and I think that he is someone who, again, he was fine at it. And that's kind of my honest opinion about Strange as a player just in general, is he was fine out there, really. Where what's going to happen on display, again, you see the one-on-one block on the screen. As you see, Strange is able to get in position, he gets the hand placement he wants, and now it's just going to come down to, does he have the power to hold on? And, well, let's find out. As you see, the answer is, yeah, for the most part. I mean, yeah, I think he wins that battle. Again, there was a flag that wasn't on him. That was a different player who held. So, as a whole, I think that he, again, did a solid job for the New England Patriots. I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say that he was a star guard or anything. And the reality is, if he was drafted in the third round, I think a lot of people would be viewing this and saying, hey, they got a pretty solid guard in the third round. That's a pretty good selection. So, I do think Belichick, in some ways, has been redeemed in the sense of Strange was probably slept on too much coming out of the draft. He was probably someone, and I think this is what we expected once it happened, was, okay, if Belichick is this high on this guy, there probably is a reason for it. He was projected to go at pick 89. He ends up, going in the 20s. So there's definitely, if he was selected then there's probably a reason for it. And I do think that in hindsight, he probably should have been higher than 89th on the board. But I don't know if he should have been that much higher than 89th on the board, given some of the areas of weakness and just areas he has to improve upon. Because again, he's a young player. He absolutely could improve upon, and I assume will improve upon plenty of these faults in his game. And I'm sure that for some people, they're going to sit here and say, you know what, would we have loved to, would we have loved for things to work out better, perhaps, in that draft? Sure, you could argue it. He was selected at pick 29. The next few players selected, though, George Karlaftis, Daxton Hill, Lewis Cine, Logan Hall. It's not like any of those guys, while they were all, I thought better prospects coming into the draft than Strange. It's not like any of them have really added more value than Strange, and he probably is the guy who I would say out of that group had the most year one value, either him or Karlaftis. Again, Hill and Cine were injured, and that's probably part of it. Also, the pick right after that was Christian Watson, which I'm sure the Patriots would love to have right now. But again, you can do that about every selection. Look back and say, if they drafted this guy instead, it would have been great. Every team could have gone back and said, oh, we should have drafted Tom Brady instead. We're idiots, right? That's just sort of how it works. But again, it's not Strange's fault he was drafted in the first round. He was drafted when he was drafted, and I thought had a pretty solid rookie year. We'll see what he does from here. Again, nothing spectacular, but nothing terrible either. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.